Welcome to Getting Started With, where our job is to make your job easier. On this episode, we are getting started with the fieldwork phase. In the fieldwork phase, you will execute audit procedures developed in the planning phase. This includes ensuring processes and systems are operating efficiently and identifying deficiencies in the processes you selected to audit. In this video, you'll learn methods for collecting evidence, communicating findings and recommendations, and executing procedures to achieve your objectives. So, let's get started. Before you begin the fieldwork stage, you should have already identified stakeholders and established the scope of the audit. You should have also completed interviews with key personnel and have a sufficient understanding of the risk involved in the area being audited. Most importantly, your audit objectives should be clear. Once you gained a sufficient understanding of the entity you are auditing during the planning phase, you are ready to begin the fieldwork phase of your internal audit. What marks the formal start of fieldwork can vary from function to function, but it typically involves a formal fieldwork kickoff meeting between you and the client. This meeting acknowledges a shift in work. It's where you go from answering questions to providing the evidence needed to support the testing procedures you developed, and getting answers to still more questions that may come up from what you've learned. It is at or before this fieldwork kickoff meeting where you should deliver your PBC list. This is a term to learn. A PBC, or prepared by client list, can also be called an initial evidence request list. This is a list of documents that are needed to complete your audit procedures. The types of items that could be requested in a PBC list include bank statements, system-generated reports, proof of review and approval, financial documents, and screenshots of activities. Typical request times may vary, but generally asking for the items to be provided within 1 to 2 weeks is considered reasonable for the initial outreach. Your follow-up request for additional information should likely be turned around a bit faster. Make sure to outline your expectations with your audit clients to ensure the timeline works for everyone. After making your initial PBC request to the client, discuss anticipated audit procedures with your team, making clear how you expect the audit objectives to be achieved. Staff assignments should be aligned with the audit procedures and objectives. If your project requires travel, it will likely take place early in the fieldwork phase, when you'll be jet setting and meeting clients face-to-face for the first time. So get your bags packed for Milan, Paris, or maybe just Sacramento. Be prepared for surprises popping up in this phase. Processes may not be as consistent as presented in the initial meeting, and documentation may be different. Ensure that any adjustments you make throughout the fieldwork are communicated and cleared with your audit leads, the CAE, and audit clients. Revisit and reiterate your audit objectives throughout the project. Reinforce with your team how your audit procedures achieve your objectives. Here's a pro tip. Set up periodic reoccurring meetings with audit clients so you can communicate the results of your audit fieldwork in a timely manner. Weekly touch points are a good start, and frequency can be adjusted as the project goes on. If an issue is serious enough, set up some time as soon as you can. Prior to this meeting, make sure you can demonstrate why you think what you have noted is an issue that represents a risk to the organization. Be ready to listen to and understand explanations provided. Here's a time saver. Start writing the audit report as soon as you can and document findings as you note them. Don't wait for the reporting phase to begin. Make sure to support your work in the audit work papers. Whether you use dedicated software or leverage applications like Word or Excel. A good rule of thumb is that your audit work should be documented in such a way that another auditor independent of the engagement could understand it and reperform it if necessary. Once an issue has been identified, communicated to your audit client, and agreed upon, start writing up the issue and encourage management to start working on a management action plan. Here's a term to learn. Management action plans identify how an audit client will address issues noted in an engagement's fieldwork phase. They outline how management will correct the issue and provide actions as well as a timeline for remediation. Be thoughtful with your recommendations. Not everything you come across merits a write-up in an audit report. Note areas where a process is working effectively, but may still have opportunities for improvement. Recommending improvements demonstrates the value you add outside of calling out the most serious risk and issues. Consider how previous audit clients might be able to add value to the issue at hand. It's great to bust down business silos by connecting past projects to the current ones. The end of your fieldwork phase may seem a bit like a moving target sometimes. You may see deadlines for requests delayed or the documents just not providing the assurance you hope for. The time you use to wrap up outstanding issues can also be used to validate other issues you may have noted during the audit. It is useful to provide audit clients with a summary of issues you plan to include in your final report. This step can help avoid surprises or identify any issues where you and the audit client are not aligned. Congratulations on completing Getting Started with Fieldwork. Thank you for watching. There's so much more to learn. On the screen below will be a list of suggested topics to go to next.